Hello, Senior Chief Starks here. U.S. Navy versus your average U.S. citizen versus the police. And I'm going to explain why the police departments across the United States continue to fail its citizens. Next on Snipes Castle. Hello, and welcome to Snipes Castle, the U.S. Navy Sailors Podcast. I'm your host, retired Senior Chief Darryl Starks. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to change our format from interviewing the great sailors I served with the U.S. Navy to comparing the U.S. Navy to different aspects of life here in the United States. Hopefully, you'll learn how the U.S. Navy, the military, has some similarities to civilian life and, of course, differences. But what I really want to convey to all the viewers out there is how every U.S. serviceman has risen above the level of your average U.S. citizen. In these series of videos, I'll compare, discuss, and demonstrate how we are, in fact, the pinnacle when it comes to being a model U.S. citizen. Now, as a citizen and a veteran, I'll share my thoughts on the first civilian organization I'm going to compare my service branch, the U.S. Navy, to. And that organization is none other than the police departments across the United States. This comparison is going to be fairly easy. Why? Just take a look at some of these headlines from videos on YouTube. All right, first, the top video, we got police officers stop fellow officer from punching handcuffed woman during arrest. All right, they know this is a violation. Supposedly they've gotten training, but they know this is a violation because one of the officers stopped this police officer from hitting this woman. And then below that slide, we got corrupt cops caught on camera breaking the law. This was in Delaware right here. Caught on camera breaking the law. You on camera and you can still break the law and get caught. So next slide, we got MTSU police officer's own body cam helps convict him in corruption case. So he got his own body camera on and he's still corrupt. All right. Now, down below that, you have cop is caught red-handed with the green. All right. This police officer stole money from someone and he got caught. All right. Another headline, court cam, crooked cop caught red-handed planting drugs on innocent people. You're supposed to be protecting and serving, but you're corrupt and you doing anything to get somebody sent to jail, maybe even prison. So would you have to go back through this police officer's history to see what he did wrong? I mean, this is insane. You can't stop us. The video down below. Corrupt cop caught on his own body cam harassing innocent citizen. All right. These are the people that we are charged with protecting and serving us as citizens right here. All right. This show right here, Indisputable, where Dr. Rashad Ritchie, I think that's his name. I can't remember. But I mean, people make a living off of this, these police officers right here. So I want you to take a look at the cop charged for attempted murder after inexplicably shooting a man. All right, this cop, the guy was out of his car. The guy was pulling out his cell phone, I believe, and the cop just started shooting him. He missed him, but he just started shooting at him. I mean, if you can't handle the job, then you shouldn't be wearing that uniform or have a gun. All right. Now, this topic right here, black female cop punished after calling out missing video evidence. They will even go after their own who are trying to investigate them for wrongdoing and punish them. So if someone does something wrong, they will go after, which is this female, she was in the internal affairs. They'll go after them and they'll punish them and try to get rid of them so they can keep this corrupt culture going on. And that's what they do. these police officers. So, like I said, this comparison is going to be fairly easy. Why? Because of these headlines that I just showed you. I'm going to show you why some police departments continue to fail the people they're supposed to protect and serve. Notice I said some, not all. First, let me explain what a civilian is, all right? If you're not active duty military you're a civilian. So if you're not active duty military, we call you civilian. That's what we who are in the military call you. Now, I'll give you a little background on what makes us servicemen different from your average civilian or U.S. citizen. U.S. servicemen versus U.S. citizen or civilian. Now, the military goes by a different set of rules and regulations that separate us from the general population or your average U.S. citizen. Whether in uniform or out, we are held to a higher standard than the average U.S. citizen, the civilians we protect. Sometimes we have to protect you from yourselves, hence the National Guard when you decide to destroy your neighborhoods because of a protest. We as military servicemen are unable to say or speak the way the average citizen can. We can't do it. There's no freedom of speech or assembly in the military. There are no protests or dissenting. Our culture is different from the civilian population in that it ranks, separate us, and provide a disciplined structure that has kept the military team, no matter what branch, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and even the Coast Guard, successful throughout the years. We don't have all the freedoms you have as civilian. Our lives belong to the government in service to our country. To be a U.S. serviceman is to be a U.S. citizen who has risen above what they were prior to joining, to become the best version of a U.S. citizen. As we go on, you'll learn why we, as servicemen and some veterans who still practice and maintain the core values of each service in their daily lives, are the best citizens the U.S. has. That's what I'm saying. Now, let me explain the difference between the U.S. Navy and the police. I'll provide you with 3 areas in which the police are failing the people they're charged with protecting and serving. The military has overcome the most difficult cultural issues that are still plaguing the United States today. Believe it or not, there is no racism in the military. It's forbidden. Social problems that are plaguing the United States, racial discrimination. You see that all over the place. Healthcare inequalities. There's no healthcare inequalities in the military. Everybody get the same care. Political displacement. In the military, we don't too much talk about the military. I mean, political, who's voting for this president, that president, whatnot. Throughout my 24 years, I've never really heard anybody talk about voting. And I remember one time somebody, when we was at quarters at the beginning of the day, asked, "Hey, are we going to have time to go vote?" I remember the chief said, "Well, if you get off on time, you can vote." He didn't give a shit. Corruption, there's corruption all over the place. There's corruption in the military. Case in point, the last company I used to work for, which was a government contractor, the base down in Fort Jackson, where he did government contracts with, he was greasing the palms of the contractor who was active duty military. They got caught, and I'm not sure if he's still serving time, but there's corruption all over the place. Corruption in the military, corruption in the police departments, as you just seen with the slides that I showed. Border Patrol, tell me there's some Border Patrol agent right now letting in a cartel and a whole bunch of drugs. That's a fact of life. There's corruption everywhere. Corruption in the prisons. There's more drugs in prison than they sometimes out on the street. That's a fact. I used to work for a company that manufactured hardwood floors, and we used the prison labor as the labor force to making these hardwood floors. And a whole host of other social problems down there that the military has overcome. All right. So What am I saying? The military is probably the closest utopian workforce anyone can be a part of. To us, racism is a warped set of thinking for the average citizen who doesn't want to rise above the beliefs that they were taught to become a better person and citizen for the betterment of our country. No matter how rich you are or how big your platform is, in our eyes, if you are a racist, this is a substandard citizen, substandard soldier if you're in the military, because there's some sleepers out there. All right. We know you're out there, but they won't come out. They keep those feelings to themselves because it's forbidden. It ruins a team, what was I'll explain later on. But this is your right to view an individual as you choose as an average U.S. citizen. If this is you, you aren't even cut out to be in the military if you have this kind of view of people. This is why we military personnel are cut above your average citizen. Yes, I'm saying we're better than your average citizen. We are, because of our lifestyle and how we go about our day-to-day business. Hence the respect we garner across the nation and even the world. This is what sets us apart. We have risen above your average civilian thinking and lifestyle to maintain a brotherhood and family that has maintained for decades. Every branch of service has their own set of core values that each member has to uphold and live by. The U.S. Navy's specific core values are honor, courage, and commitment. Honor, courage, and commitment. We also have a sailor's creed, which is a code of ethics that promotes personal excellence, reinforces identity, builds esprit de corps, and governs a sailor's existence within the Navy and the world we live in. Just because a sailor's off duty, sailor, Army, Air Force, whatever branch of service you're in, it doesn't matter. You're a sailor, serviceman, 24/7. 24/7. At one time, civilians had a creed that everyone lived by. It was called the Bible, religion, the Ten Commandments for most civilians, or whatever faith you follow. Not so much now, as you can see where the world is heading. I mean, you can just look at the news. And not in a good way, really. So the U.S. Navy Sailor's Creed reads as follows. I am a United States sailor. I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America, and I will obey the orders of those appointed over me. I represent the fighting spirit of the Navy and those who have gone before me to defend freedom and democracy around the world. I proudly serve my country's Navy combat team with honor, courage, and commitment. This line is important. I am committed to excellence and the fair treatment of all. I am committed to excellence and the fair treatment of all. I want you to read the Sailor's Creed and think about it. I want you to especially focus on the last piece of the creed. I am committed to excellence and the fair treatment of all. The fair treatment of all. That's important, and you see as we go along. This brings us finally to my topic. Why are the police a failed organization? These are people who are supposed to protect and serve us, and you see them on the internet constantly. All right? Now, this is not a knock on those police officers who serve our communities daily and do everything that's required within the regulations to uphold the law. To every video I watch of bad police officers, there are videos that show great police officers who take pride in their profession and do what's necessary to uphold the law in sometimes a thankless job. But some of those same officers are at fault for the state of their police departments. Now, I'm going to explain this, all right? Now, why are some police departments across the United States are failing its citizens, all right? Now, my first reason for why some police departments are failing is the police are not a cohesive team. In my eyes, they're not really a cohesive team. Okay, now you're saying, well, Daryl, how can you say the police aren't a cohesive team? All right. They are out there every day doing the job together. Do the police do what's required at the moment to get the job done? Yes, they do. But are they really a team? If the police are a cohesive team, then why are there multiple police associations separated by race? The police have the Fraternal Order of Police. This is the largest organization for police officers in the United States. Then there's also the National Association of Black Law Enforcement Officers. There's the National Association of Police Organizations. Um, there's the National Black Police Association, as well as a host of other separate organizations according to race. All right. National Association of Black Law Enforcement Officers, Hispanic Police Officers Association, National Asian Peace Officers Association. All these different organizations separated by race. New York is a great example of where these different divisions are very prevalent. And just like your average citizen who sees color, police officers can form private groups if they choose. If you choose, you can form your own group. Hey, I want all the blacks over here, all the Asians over here, and whoever over here. You know, it's your choice. You can do that. Remember that phrase, average citizen. Now, this is not the case with members of the military. This is the difference from the police and the military. All right. There's no forming of separate groups. The military operates as a single unit. There's no black, there's no white. In the Navy, we all bleed navy blue. Division like this ruins a team. There cannot be division in tense situations that require everyone's mind to be focused on the mission at hand and not wondering about the views or the race of your teammate next to you. You hear me say this a lot. This ruins good order and discipline. What is good order and discipline? Good order and discipline is something the police departments across the United States lack when you have one group such as the National Association of Black Law Enforcement Officers monitoring the Fraternal Order of Police Officers to ensure the rights of their people are not infringed upon. This is not unity among a uniformed team that operates together in each state across this country. There are testimonials from Black, Spanish, and Asian officers on YouTube explaining the issues these officers had while in uniform with their departments. Is that unity? You won't ever see a serviceman online speaking about these issues. You know, there's guidelines. Hey, you don't go online. That's what separates the military from the average citizen. And police officers are average citizens. For example, there was a lady police officer who had a partner that wouldn't even acknowledge that they were partners. He wouldn't acknowledge her. I mean, they go out to lunch together. He eat with police officers and she'd eat by herself. You know, that's his choice, you know, but he wouldn't even acknowledge the lady that was her partner. How are you supposed to go out, that be your partner and y'all get in a tense situation and trust this guy? You know, that's not a team. There are countless stories like these on YouTube, countless stories. And this is supposed to be a team. Hence the reason for these separate organizations. These are separate organizations separated by a race to look out for the interests of that particular race. How's it possible to be a cohesive team if you're not together as one but separated? How does that work? These separate organizations are pitted against each other and they're supposed to be on the same team. These uniformed men and women we call the police should be held to a higher standard than your average civilian. But the police departments across the country act just like your average civilian because they are average civilians, which is the reason for their continued failure and failing the communities they're assigned to. Just like your average civilian or U.S. citizen, the police are separated into groups and factions, killing any idea of a cohesive team. This leads to dysfunction and chaos within these police departments, because there is no fair treatment of all. Remember that? Fair treatment of all within the police department's own ranks, which leads to distrust. Lack of trust in a team can can have significant impact on team cohesion, communication, and overall productivity. And it leads to mistakes. That sounds like the police department we see on the news every night. That sounds like the police department we see on YouTube channels. These people make a living off of the mistakes and the corruption and dysfunction in some of these police departments that keeps police in the spotlight constantly and not in a good way. So my thought would be, if I'm in the public view more, in the public's eye, my mistakes will be more visible with the potential to blow up because the department, which causes the department to look bad in the public's eye, as well as creating a culture of distrust of the people the police serve. And the question to be asked, does a police officer care about how the public views you? Do you care? Do you care? I mean, sometimes you gotta be like, if you're doing your job to the letter of the law and the public is mad, hey, if you're doing it to the letter of the law and they mad, hey, they gotta be mad. But if there's a tinge of corruption behind that, and you don't care, then you shouldn't be a police officer. All right. So remember, U.S. Navy boot camp changes the way a recruit thinks prior to becoming a sailor. When you go to boot camp, they break you down and they build you back up. The police academy doesn't change the individual wanting to be a police officer. The police academy, all it does is you're the same person going in as the same person when you're coming out. So you're the same person. They're the same person as when they went in. An average, sometimes substandard citizen. Not being in a cohesive team was the first. Not being a cohesive team was the first of my 3 reasons why I feel the police in this country are a failed organization. Before I close, let me tell you one of Senior Chief's true Navy sea stories. I'm going to share a sea story with you of a situation we had that shows how we don't look at color, how your average citizen looks at color, and how we in the Navy don't look at color. All right. The transition to Chief Petty Officer in an enlisted sailor's career is one of the most exciting times in any sailor's career. As the chief, you're now in a leadership position to manage and guide sailors on a grander scale. You're given more responsibility as well as accountability. The transition for these new chiefs is a process filled with exercises to get each newly selected chief to think deeply about who they are, how they will think and react to different situations, and how they will lead. One of these exercises is the egg division. One of these exercises, we call it the egg division. Okay, you got 12 dozen eggs. The chief in training is given 12 different eggs to decorate and shape into his division. He's in charge of these eggs, just like if they were actual people. This one chief selectee brought in his egg division to the master chief, a senior chief, and myself for inspection. This chief selectee had painted the black people in his egg division black, painted the Spanish people brown, and had a few yellow eggs for Asian people. The senior chief picked up one of the eggs and said, "Is this what I look like?" The senior chief and I began laughing. The master chief said the senior chiefs are laughing, but this is no laughing matter. The master chief then went into training mode. He went into this chief selectee. "Is this what you see when you look at your division? Let me educate you on how the Navy works. There is no black, there is no brown, there is no white, there is no yellow or any other color you see out of those eyes of yours as a sailor in this Navy. The only colors you should see are navy blue. We all bleed navy blue. Now get that egg division out of my face and make a new one in the Navy's image. Remember what I said after I read the U.S. Navy Sailor's Creed. The fair treatment of all." That's a powerful statement. The fair treatment of all. If everyone in your police department's ranks were treated fairly, and if your police were truly a team, there would be no need for this division among your ranks. Thank you for watching. Comments are welcome. Please like, share, and subscribe to Snipes Castle, where I bring you the real Navy, how we live, how we operate. I interview the great sailors I serve with. Check out their stories. If you have an idea about a comparison you would like to see, let me know in the comments or email me. As always, from myself, Senior Chief Retired Daryl Starks, don't just support the troops, be like the troops. If you do that, the world will be a better place. Snipes Castle, shipmates for life.